All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first edition of Inside Futsal. And there is no person better suited to join me on the journey to the new show than our great friend, the knowledgeable, super talented, the doctor, Andre Caro. Andre, my friend, how are things with you in Australia?
Things are going not too bad. I'm recovering from COVID at the moment, but I'm pretty good. But I'm very excited to be on the show and very excited to be your first guest. Thanks for inviting me.
Hey man, well you're absolutely fantastic during the World Cup. Everybody should be watching your show. I mean, you got like everyone wants you to do a show. You know what I mean? You got the Andre Caro show. I mean, you got Caro Futsal going on, Futsal and Proud. I mean, there's a lot going on with you. Some great guests coming up, and no, I appreciate you. Over the years, including me, and it's always been something. I always like talking futsal. So, Inside Futsal's been around for a long time, but now it's time for the big show, and we got a lot to talk about, my friend. And I guess without further ado, let's just jump right into it, right? Let's get some futsal on
Yeah,
the way.
let's do it.
All right. So, Futsal Planet hours ago released the awards for the 2021 Futsal Awards. What did you think, my friend? Did you have a look? What did you like? What did you not like? And let's jump right into it.
Look, straight out. As a Brazilian, I'm pretty happy that the women's best player of the world are Brazilians. However, there is some controversy, and I understand why people are upset. Some people are upset, especially the Portuguese people. But we're gonna be talking about that, and I'm gonna be saying why I think that they did. I'm gonna put it out there already. Penny could have been the best player in the world, but I'm gonna explain why they didn't give it to him.
I got to hear this out there because I'll be honest. When I voted, I put Pany as my number one.
Look, yeah, are we gonna get to that point right now, or we want to start from the start?
Now let's go from the start. I want to hear it all from you. You're the doctor. You got to diagnose this.
All right, so look, everything started. Penny had an amazing year, outstanding, won everything you can imagine. However, he didn't get the best play in the World Cup, and they gave to Ricardinho. Some people agree, some people don't. But I think that was the excuse that the Ferrão needed to win the world, to the best player in the world. If Penny had won the best player of the World Cup, that was it. There was no chance they would have given to Ferrão. But because they gave to Ricardinho, and some people might not agree with that decision, that was the excuse for Ferrão to win the best player in the world.
I thought about it a lot because it was such a controversial topic today. And you know what? This is a good thing. It was kind of like, in football where everyone was like, how did Lewandowski not win the Ballon d'Or? And they gave it to Messi. The more people are talking about futsal, it's a good thing. And differences of opinions, we love it. Nobody wants the same bread and butter all the time. For me, I put Pani as my number one out there. And ultimately, he won everything, was sitting there, 8 goals, leading Portugal to the World Cup. I mean, the title was his. And you are absolutely right that, Ricardinho winning the World Cup, top award, probably gave an out. But the vote was relatively close. And I think, to be honest, there's a little bit of kind of a branding issue. I mean, you look at when Falcao had won all his awards and Ricardinho won all his awards. People know the name. I think we need to build all of our superstars in futsal a lot more. There needs to be a lot more branding and promotion of these stars. That's how basketball got big in the 80s with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. And over here with futsal, I mean, how many people that were just casual futsal fans really knew what was going on in the Champions League, what was really going on until the World Cup happened? And a lot of people were watching Pani for the first time going, oh, this guy's the real deal. What's going on? But when you saw the name Ferrão, it was like, okay, this is the guy. He's already won 2 awards in a row. Now it's his third. I think he's kind of like the Coca-Cola now of futsal, and people are acknowledging. So I think that kind of also might have had a play in it. But I think you're spot on that World Cup award that didn't go to Pani certainly may have had an effect.
Yeah, it's you're totally right. Total right. Correct. But Ferrão he's got the X factor that there might not be another that feeling that we might not see another Ricardinho, we might not see another Falcão, and we might not see again another Ferrão, but we might still see players like Pany, in my opinion, in my eyes. So Pany had an amazing year, probably the best year of his career, and I hope he backs it up. But Ferrão is that player that like we're gonna look at back, you're gonna remember that was the best pivot of all time. That was Ricardinho. That was one of the best wingers of all time. So it's just that to break it through to the best player of the world. Yeah, that's a very hard gig. I think Pany could have done it, and no one would be upset if Pany had won it.
Now, do you see with the Euro starting very, very shortly in hours, do you see Pani taking this as motivation to score in the opening game?
For sure. I think Portugal have Serbia in the first game, don't they?
I believe the opener is against Serbia. That's right. It opens
Yeah,
the whole tournament.
It's gonna be a hard game. Serbia is a very defensive team, as
They're
we
a
saw in the World
great
Cup.
team.
They could cause an upset. If Portugal doesn't perform, Serbia could win. That's a game that we can't just discard Serbia. But yeah, I think Pany is gonna have to prove again, and that's the job to be the best a player like Ferrão. You have to every tournament win Golden Boot, every time you win MVP, and that's what Ferrão has been doing the last few years, and that's why he's been winning everything.
Well, let's look at some of the other awards out here. I mean, best young player, Zikite. Any surprise there?
Nah, no surprise. He had an amazing World Cup. He had an amazing Portuguese league. The kid he has a very bright future.
He's a star. He's a stud. And you know what? I sat down with him a couple times over in Lithuania at the World Cup. He is friendly, super humble. Probably
That's
because my
so good.
Portuguese is so bad and his English isn't the best out there, but he's such a great kid. Super
But
always
remember in the
willing to
World
talk.
Cup, we were talking that Portugal was going to miss Cardinal. And in fact, they didn't miss Cardinal in the World Cup. Ziki just, he did the job amazingly.
He stood up out there, and it's unbelievable now that Cardinal is going to miss the Euro again for Portugal out there. I mean, the luck that this poor guy has had out there. I saw him in 2012 play along with Ricardinho against Brazil and in Thailand, and I'm going, oh my God, this guy is unbelievable. So, Portugal, did they miss him? I mean, they won the World Cup without him. I mean, they'll be able to move forward out there in Ziki. This is his opportunity to continue. This 2022 could possibly be his year to step into the role of being one of the biggest superstars in the game. And this award, can't say anything more deserving about this kid. So with that being said, unless you got something to say, I heard a little inhale.
I think we have to be a little bit patient with young kids as well. Futsal is a game that you need experience. You need experience to be able to perform. Winning the best young player means that you're the best young player. But to take the next step, I think it could take a good 5 years, for him to mature himself and be consistent. It takes a lot of experience. We have to be very patient with these young kids.
Yeah, I think, when you throw people over to the Wolves, it's a little hard, but this kid is so athletic. You know what I mean? His ability to move, he is so quick, and his confidence is only gaining, at a rapid level. And how old is Ferrão now? What is he?
Ferrão, he's in his 30s. I know that. He's maybe 31, 32. I might just quickly look it up while we're chatting. So let's just find that out.
I mean, he moves like a 22-year-old, that's for sure.
Ferrão is 31 at the moment.
31.
Born in 1990.
Well, if Ziki follows the same trajectory out there, it would be, not a bad career to say the least. World Cup title, and maybe a European title coming up for the kid too. Now,
so Ferrão is still got maybe a good 4 years, 5 still, at a very high level.
He'll play for years to come out there. And let me ask, men's national team, Portugal finishes first. Any surprise there?
No surprise. But that's the thing about details, right? So if Argentina had won the World Cup, maybe they would have been the best national team. But it's just details, I was talking to Luizinho on my podcast. Luizinho, the goalkeeper coach from Karat, from Kazakhstan and Karat. They lost in details to Portugal, and then because of that, they didn't go through, to the grand final. It's just. It's details, but that's part of the game, and Portugal deserves to be the best team. What about you? What do you think?
Well, I mean, my family's from Portugal. Who am I to say it? I think if anyone saw my videos online of being in the arena when Portugal won, I was super happy on it. But you made a really cool point. about the little details separating everything. And the next award is the guy who created those details in that semifinal game against Kazakhstan. And that's my man, George Braz, Canadian-born, 4-time consecutive International Futsal Coach of the Year. I don't think that's ever been done. And he is the current reigning, defending, and undisputed European and now world champion. Could you really say that George Braz did not deserve this?
Nah, well, no one can say anything about that, honestly.
Nobody.
What he did with Portugal was, you look at the Portugal team, you see some amazing players, some superstars, but the team was so well drilled that everyone knew each other's role, and they all had an amazing. How many goals they scored from strategies, from side balls, corners, free kicks? That shows the coach's work, you know. That show George's Braz work. Even yesterday in the friendly game against who did they play yesterday in the friendly game? Do you remember?
It was North Macedonia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they scored a beautiful goal from a side ball, and yeah, it just that shows that it's George's Braz and George Braz assistant's work.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And you know what? I mean, Portugal just keeps winning these awards out here. Best men's club, Sporting. It's hard to say no.
Nah, yeah, definitely. It's very hard to say no.
And I'm a Benfica fan, born and raised out there. So it pains me to say, but they had a great team. Right now, they got to be the best futsal team on the planet out there. And to be honest, it was just something to see. I think Portugal
The interesting thing I want to talk there, Kris, is the competition between the South American clubs and the European clubs. Because when they play against each other, usually the South American clubs win. No, usually, but recently. So we saw Magnus beating Barcelona in the grand final. Magnus beating other teams. I think Boca Juniors won the World Cup as well a couple of years ago. So if Magnus had won the Brazilian National League instead of losing the final, would they maybe they get to the best club in the world?
I mean, Magnus had an absolutely ridiculous run. I think someone said that they hadn't lost for pretty much a whole year. Like they went completely undefeated.
Yeah,
and you're Brazilian.
Won the National League undefeated, and then they went undefeated all the way until losing the grand final.
And the team, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. It's a Cascavel, no?
Cascavel, yeah.
Cascavel. That's it. Desculpa. Eu não falo bem português, Jormal. That's it. I'm working on it, though. I'm working on it.
You say Cascavel in a Portuguese accent, so it wasn't wrong.
Well, it's perfect. I mean, they came on. There was a couple surprises in Brazil. You had Foz Cataratas making it, really far. And you kind of had the opportunity to see, the deep futsal fan in you really wanted to see Carlos Barbosa versus Magnus. Yeah. I mean, that's what I always wanted to see. But I always love to see a new team come up. And what they did over in the Brazilian league just shocked everybody because it was two dominant wins, like really dominant wins.
Yeah, it was, and that shows that in the Paraná state of Brazil, one of the states there, futsal is so strong in that state. But that's the thing about the Brazilian the difference between the Brazilian National League and the Spanish and Portuguese. Spanish this year is a little bit stronger, the other teams. But Portugal, you'd say you can always remember the grand final be between Sporting against Benfica. I can't even remember the last time there wasn't. Do you remember the last time there wasn't Portugal Benfica against Sporting?
Benfica versus Sporting, they play each other all the time, and I don't want to remind you of the score because it hasn't really gone our way.
Correct.
Yeah, thank you.
But the Brazilian National League every is between 10 different teams. Anyone can win the Brazilian National League, and that's why the Brazilians believe that that's the strongest league in the world.
I love the Brazilian league out there. I mean, anytime I go visit Sao Paulo out there, it's always, hey, come over and visit the Corinthians complex. And I always go, to Sorocaba. I try to, go say over to the guys like Felipe who's over there and doing a phenomenal job. That club is just such a fantastic club. And then Falcao's, was there before. Faretti was there before, going undefeated and just losing out on the finals to a real team that was on the trajectory. I mean, that league is as fun as it gets. And I want to see more action out there. But we could have a whole episode on that. Sticking to the awards, Sporting, men's club, but men's club coach, I mean, hey, if Sporting's getting the top club award, Nuno Diaz, what do you think?
That's fair enough.
No question about that.
And Nuno's been a sports team for how many years, Kris? For a long time, hasn't he?
He's been there for ages, but the thing is, he's such a young-looking guy. You know what I mean? He doesn't look like a seasoned veteran coach in his like 50s or anything. Like he's a very, very, very big career ahead of him. Same with, Diego and some of these other young coaches like Matias. So, I mean, what Sporting has done in futsal is just reinvented the wheel because for years, it was Kairat and Barca and Inter. I mean, those were the big guns out there. And, Portugal won a couple titles here and there, but it wasn't ever that consistent threat. They were never looked at as the top dog. Now everyone's looking at Sporting Lisboa as the top dog out there in Europe. So, good to
I
Nuno and
was
the rest
just
of the
checking
crew.
here before quickly, and the last time I think it's the first time ever it's the first time ever the Portuguese team wins the best club in the world.
Hey, that's it. Congratulations. I mean, they
So the
claimed up.
last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times were a Spanish team. So Barcelona, Inter, Movistar, and before that was Intelli from Brazil.
Well, the Portuguese won 6 awards. The Spanish won 5 and Brazilians won 3. It was a clean sweep pretty much between all three of them. And I mean, the Portuguese Federation, couldn't be happier right now. So, Nuno picks it up. Congratulations. But now moving on to your fellow Brasileiros, men's goalkeeper of the year. Break it down for me, my friend, because I know you want to talk about this one.
Look, Gita is outstanding, amazing goalkeeper, one of the best in the world. But that's an award that so many people could have won. You talk to the Karate and Kazakhstan's fans, they think that Gita should have won. You talk to the Argentinian fans, they think that Nico should have won. So it's a hard one. You got to feel for the other goalkeepers. And look, Gita is very consistent. He had a good year as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's super difficult. I mean, the goalkeepers, you back in the day, it was just like you had, Luis Amado, and that was like no one else could touch him.
Or Thiago from Brazil. They were
exactly.
The two.
Yeah, and it was just back and forth, and I love it. And this goalkeepers, battle. I mean, let's look at the list here. Out there, I mean, Higuita finished second, Sarmiento finished third. If he'd won his second World Cup by the age of 28, would Sarmiento have edged out for the title or no?
I think so. Yeah, it's a hard one because he didn't win the best goalkeeper of the World Cup. So I'm not sure if him winning the World Cup would have changed much in that case.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many great goalkeepers. I'm looking at this list now. Samimi over Ferrão, and I mean, Dmitry, Putilev. I always pronounce my Russian names wrong, so please be patient with me, my friends over in Russia. But Russia is one of those teams that just, we'll get to them in the Euro chat very shortly. But going back over to the awards out there, best men's player we've already covered, but let's talk about the women. How many women's awards were there this year? Luca and Miko from Futsal Planet, we salute you because the women's game needs far more attention. And part of that is more recognition. And those recognitions are now coming into the awards. So, best women's national team was Spain. What's your take?
Look, the hard part about the women's game is they don't have an official FIFA Women's World Cup. So they have the European Cups, they have the Asian Cups. I'm not even sure if there is a South American Cup. I can't even remember if there is an official South American Cup. I think there is, but it was canceled the last couple of years. So that's the hard part is you base the awards on friendly games that the Spanish team is always playing friendly games against other countries. And they're always winning against the other countries. So every time you see a game, it's them beating another country in a friendly game. And they win the European Cup. So they deserve it to win. They're probably the best country at the moment. But we all have to work hard on getting a World Cup together for the women.
It's priority number one. And some people weren't happy that there was a big push the night before the men's World Cup. And I'm there going, no, this is exactly the kind of coverage that you want. And every female player.
Why weren't they happy?
People wanted to focus on the men's tournament. And I'm going, guys, what are you kidding me? Get out of here. Exactly. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Let's give the women the attention because I'll be honest. I mean, I'm not in Amsterdam right now or the Netherlands for this men's Euro because obviously the COVID situation and restrictions. But, being of Portuguese background, I do want to see Portugal versus Turkey in the World Cup qualifiers for football. And then that's on the 24th. And on the 29th, if Portugal advances, they'll most likely play Italy with the winner going to the World Cup in Qatar. Wedged in between that week in Porto is the Women's Futsal Euro. Spain, Portugal, Ukraine, and Russia. I couldn't ask for a better week of futsal and football in my life out there. So I really can't wait to go out and watch the girls put it to the court and really show the world why women should have a FIFA Women's Futsal World Cup.
And we've gone past the point that women should fight for their rights. They should have it by now. You know, like when you watch tennis, is the same prize money for the men and for the women. Now I think in the men's World Cup should be in the World Cup soccer World Cup. I think it's the same now already. So I think we've gone past that point that they have to fight. They should have it by now.
Do the women for outdoor in FIFA women's football earn the same prize money as the men?
I'm pretty sure now they do. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
that's good.
They had to change that.
That's good.
In Australia, the men's and women's World Cup get paid the same. The men's and women's national teams for soccer.
Yeah, I know the Canadian team, the women's were fighting very hard over here, and they won the Olympic gold medal. So, I mean, they've proven that, they're the dominant team out here. Hopefully, Canada's, growth in football can happen. But, for me, I'm more concerned about the futsal growth, just as you are in Australia. So let's continue down the list. Women's national coach. If the women's national team of the year was Spain, Claudia Pons, are you going to argue anything against that? I'm certainly not.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. That's all I have to say.
Well, and I mean, Spain was cleaning house over here. Women's club, Varela. What do you think?
Well, you think that at the moment the best women's futsal is in Spain. At the moment, the best women's futsal league is in Spain. In Brazil or Spain, Brazil, you have Leões and you have the Taboão, two teams in Brazil. This year they shared. They were not, one team wasn't as dominant as they usually are. And in Spain, Varela was dominant. So, yeah, they won the strongest league and they should win the best club.
Well, and I mean, the best club coach is from the same club, Julio Delgado. I mean, congratulations.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You can't go wrong there. And now, here's where the best women's goalkeeper out here, 3-time consecutive winner, just like Ferrão, Ana Catarina, our girl. What do you think?
It's so good to watch her.
She's so great, isn't she?
Yeah, her technique is perfect. The way that she's so passionate about playing, it's just good to watch her, and it's good for girls to watch her. Little girls should look up to her and want to be a goalkeeper, a futsal goalkeeper.
No, absolutely, and I mean, this has to be an opportunity now with 3-time goalkeeper of the year to become the next superstar, and I mean, there's not too many women superstars. People genuinely don't know. And even when I'm doing the voting, I'm seeing names because let's face it, I mean, I know you're the doctor, but I know that Luca and Nico, they're the professors. And these guys are hunting futsal footage and statistics like nobody's business around the world. Maybe Steve Harris is, fitting in that too, the legend he is. But just to see some of this and be able to find some of the, the highlights is absolutely phenomenal. So I think Ana Catarina, this girl is due for some serious sponsorship dollars. And hopefully she, continues her trajectory growing forward. Now, before I get to the Women's Player of the Year, Best Referee, Juan Cordero from España. This is always a difficult award to give out. I mean, it's just the appointments, a lot of appointments for referees are political. We know this. But we also know that there's some phenomenal referees out there. What was your take out there? I mean, Cordero's had a phenomenal career so far, and he was at the World Cup and had a great year in Spain. What was your take?
Look, last year I watched a lot of the Spanish league because we were in lockdown here, and I was just staying up and watching the games. And Cordero and there was another referee. They were always refereeing together in the main games, in the top games.
Alejandro Flores, maybe.
Well, I don't know. I can't remember his name. I know that they were always together, and they were the standout referees for me. But what I like watching about Cordero, he's you look at him and he's professional, like he's so confident. He respects the players very well, very respectful, and talking in a good way to the players. I think he's good. He's someone good. He reminds me, when the Italian soccer referee, the bald guy,
Pierluigi Collina.
Yeah, Collina. A gentleman. He reminds me someone that other refs can look up to.
And players respect.
Correct.
That's it. And if I'm not mistaken with that award, and I'm just going to actually check it right now, is in the top 5. Well, it's a second referee of the year award, if I'm not mistaken, right? There was a couple of refs
Yeah.
who, in the previous years, were dominant, but didn't get nominated this time. However, three of the top five vote getters were female, right? So we got Chiara Perona, Maria Pinto, and Irina Velakanova. I hope I pronounced that right, Irina, out
Now
there.
we still
So
don't have a women's referee. Huh? Hopefully soon we're gonna have the award.
I think it would be great. I mean, they can hang with the men. We certainly saw that at the World Cup. Some of the best
Yeah.
referees out there. I mean, I
Yeah,
still what was
we had the Argentinian girl that she referee a few games, and the Colombian or Paraguayan girl, no, Venezuelan maybe. So there were two girls refereeing, and the Iranian girl. There were three.
Maria Pintos from Argentina, and there was the Chilean Valeria
Chilean,
Palma.
yes, correct.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah.
And my favorite referee of all time, still to this day, is a female, and that's Renata Lecce over from Brazil. I mean, Renata was just fantastic. I'm gonna speak in English instead of trying to Renata and rolling my R's with the
Yeah,
H
that's it.
in Portuguese, man.
But the
I'll work
Argentinian
on it.
referee, she was amazing at the World Cup. She was so confident, like if there was a
Fantastic.
women's referee of the year, it would have been nice to give it to her.
Yeah, I mean, she finished fourth out there, and it's something to see. Out of the top five referees, three of them were female out there, and the future trajectory for the female game, it's unlimited.
Yeah.
And this is not a it's like, oh, we're being fancy and political. We legitimately believe it. I was raised by my grandmother, my mother, four aunts. I have two kid sisters, and I have two nieces. It's important for the women's game to grow out there, just on a fundamental sense, let alone
Yeah, look,
philosophical.
my wife is a futsal player. So, and if I have a daughter, she's not going to do another sport. She's going to play futsal. I'm telling you. So let's grow futsal right now
I
for
love it.
the
Maybe
girls.
maybe a future Australian national coach out there, or national player for you guys, eh?
I'll work hard on that.
All right. Well, listen, this is the award that I'm most happy about. I mean, let's be honest. George Braz won his fourth straight National Coach of the Year. Fahau, three straight Men's Player of the Years. Anna Katarina, and now 8 times the female futsal player of the year at the age of what? 26 years old? 26. And she's got
Is she only
eight.
26?
She's 26, maybe 27 worst case, but no higher than that. I was pretty sure she was 25 last year when I sent her a message getting her on the show. 8 times in any FIFA award. Not Ronaldo, not Messi, not Falcao, not even Ricardinho, but Amandinha winning the eighth consecutive award. I can't stop saying eight because it's just such a
Yeah.
ridiculous number to win eight, and not even hitting 30 years old. Tell us, as a fellow Brazilian, how big is this girl, and why isn't she the biggest name in all of futsal today?
Look, she she's amazing. First of all, she's a role model for all the girls to follow, and and for a long time she's been playing in Brazil. Recently, she moved to Spain, and she just played her first game. She scored I think one goal in her first game, and had a good game. So I'm looking forward to actually watching her this season in Spain, and I have a feeling that she's gonna win everything in Spain as well. As soon as she gets used to the different game of Spain, more tactical, more strategies. But yeah, it's so good, and she's so young. We might not see a player ever again to win that many awards.
I can't imagine it, but I mean, this is one of those cases where it's like eight by 26. Maybe someone will correct us and she's 27, but even if she was, 8 titles, I mean, that's just something unbelievable. And I mean, if she dominates in Spain like she did in Brazil, this she could get to a decade. She could get to the 10. Could you imagine
And
a
and I'll
decade of
tell you something.
dominance?
I'm creating a collection of NFTs, and then in the collection I'm gonna put out there so people can hear as well. The collection of NFTs is called Futsal Legends. So I've picked lots of legends. These legends, I've already got 20 legends: Falcão, Ricardinho, Neto. There is lots of them, and I have got Amandinha as one of the legends already, because Amandinha should be a futsal legend. So the two legends I have in the women's game is Amandinha and Vanessa. Vanessa, another Brazilian that won twice before Amandinha.
Let's be honest here. If she didn't kick another ball for the rest of her life, she's an automatic legend. I mean, she's got title after title. 8 consecutive, though. I can't stop saying it. It's unbelievable. So I wanted to finish off with her because I think she should be the biggest superstar in all of futsal. Forget female futsal. I'm talking all of futsal. And if there's any people out there with any ties to companies and sponsorships, this girl is humble, polite, talented, beautiful, everything you want in a top athlete out there. Sponsor this girl. Give her the money. She deserves it. And she's not stopping anytime soon.
And on top of that, she's got 395,000 subscribers, followers on Instagram, and she's got a big following. Everyone in Brazil follows her, so she's gonna be a good person to sponsor.
Not just an influencer on the court, but off it as well. So definitely
Yes,
put your money where this girl's shoes are, because she's cash money for the next 10 years of her career. So
for sure.
that's the awards out there. And my goodness, it was so great just hearing everyone on Twitter and Instagram going back and forth on who they wanted. It was just great to have futsal conversation the same way that you have it with football, or you have it with ice hockey here in Canada, or maybe Aussie rules down where you're at. I loved it. It's almost like a second Christmas when Luca puts out that tweet. And it's like, we're gonna name the awards tomorrow, and it's like, all right, I can't sleep now. So I just want to thank Luca and Nico from Futsal Planet. Everyone should support that site. I think their line is addicted since the 80s, online since 97. So, everything those guys do, I just got to say,
And
salute, boys.
it's so original. You go to the website, still looks like one of those original websites. It's got so much history, and that goes to prove that it takes time to build a good brain as well, like Futsal Planet.
No
Futsal
question.
Planet is a brand that everyone respects.
Absolutely. It's fantastic. Anytime, I mean, I've met Miko. I've never met Luca, but I sent him a little gift over from the World Cup just to say thanks, for
Yeah.
everything. It's the inspiration, when you
Actually, I'm
get
gonna
some.
show you my gift here on the show. Just give me 1 second.
Oh, bring it out. Let's see.
So about a week ago, I don't know if you guys gonna just look at the video. I received this letter here from Kris. By the way, actually, I haven't taken it out of the letter. I've just opened.
No.
I looked and I didn't take it because I wanted to do this on a video. So there you go. I didn't go to the World Cup, but something from the World Cup came to me.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm so glad it got to you.
Yeah.
That was there. That's a cool pin. Yeah. So it's essentially a replica of the World Cup trophy, but mixed in with the Lithuania 2021 logo, and that's it. So pins are a great little keepsake. I keep all of them out there, and you're just such a great influence out, not just in Australia but around the world of futsal, showing kids how to play on the court.
This is one of the
through
things
videos.
that I'm gonna take the plastic out, because in 50 years I'm gonna sell this.
You're gonna put it on eBay in 10 years. That's what you're gonna do.
That's it.
Well, let's go down the list, man. We talked all about, honestly, this could have been an episode just on the Futsal Planet Futsal Awards, but in a couple of hours, Euro 2022 is here. I'm just rubbing my hands in glee. COVID unfortunately hurt the tournament where there's no fans, and I can tell you the KNVB, the Dutch Federation, has done a superbly ridiculous job in putting this tournament together. The marketing has been the best marketing I have ever seen in futsal in my life. The videos, the special guests, everything that the KNVB and UEFA did on this was absolutely fire, like my little nieces like to say, and I'll try not to be cool and say it again. But the marketing was phenomenal, and it's a shame that the fans won't be there for at least the first 2 rounds of match days. But hopefully restrictions lift in the Netherlands, and the Dutch can get a taste of that delicious futsal soup. But the cool thing is that the games are going ahead out there, and it's the first time that we're doing 16 teams. The sad thing is that this tournament's only going to be 4 years. The thing I loved about the Euros that it was every 2 years, and it was just one of those things that you always looked forward to every other year. So a little sad about the 4 years, but happy about more teams entering. Let's jump into it. We got Group A: Netherlands, Portugal, Ukraine, Serbia. Doctor, what are you liking here in this group?
There's a lot of things I like. There's nothing that I don't like, actually. So I'm very excited about all the games in that group. Netherlands, they remind me a little bit of Morocco, like their style of playing and their freestyle street soccer background as well. Some very skillful players in those teams. Ukraine is always dangerous. We didn't see them in the World Cup. We saw Serbia, we saw other countries. Ukraine was a nation that was usually in the World Cup. They didn't make it this time. But yeah, it's gonna be very exciting. Serbia and Portugal, the two World Cup teams, they have to go through to the group to the finals. But I don't know. I think there could be a surprise there.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I love Serbia as a dark horse for this tournament because they're relentless. They're physical. When you
Yeah.
leave the court playing Serbia, you just played Serbia. And I'll be honest, they were giving Portugal a serious run for their money at the World Cup. I can't wait for that game. And I'm just glad that the games are not too early. It's going to be 11:30 Toronto time, so it gives me a nice time to really just relax in the morning and get prepared for it. But I like Portugal and Serbia to go through. Would you agree that's the same?
That's what should happen. So let's see if they make it happen.
All right. Well, Group B. This is a fun group. We have semifinalists from the World Cup, Kazakhstan, Italy, who have won this tournament twice, Slovenia, and Finland. Finland with a little history over with the Italian national team. What do you like about this group, and who do you see moving forward?
That's an interesting thing because I've been studying a lot. I've been preparing for a podcast I'm going to be doing with Gabriel Lima, and I've been studying the national team of Italy. They usually have a lot of Brazilians, and this year is not different. I think they've got 8 Brazilians in the squad this year. Kazakhstan have 6 Brazilians in the squad. And then Slovenia and Finland, they don't have these Brazilians in the squad. I'm not sure if they have one each country. I don't even know. I think that could be the difference. Not because I'm Brazilian, but that difference of quality that you need in a tournament like that. Look, agree or disagree that the Kazakhstan and Italy have the Brazilians. Agree with the take of with the rule or not. So I see Kazakhstan going through, and Kazakhstan just gave the citizenship to Edson, another Brazilian, very good player. So we're gonna have to see what happens with Italy. Maybe one of the other two nations can beat Italy and finish as second best. Who knows? What about you?
Finland eliminated them from World Cup contention out there. And I mean, we talked about Futsal Planet with Mikko. Mikko Martic is the head coach out there. This man has no fear. The Finnish team has no fear. And if you notice the marketing the last couple of weeks, the Finnish Federation's really stepping up their efforts in their long-term strategy. Beautiful marketing. And I just came back from Helsinki before I went to the World Cup. Beautiful country. They love their indoor sports. Hockey's one of them. As a Canadian, I've met more than a few Finnish athletes. This country has potential. However, this particular tournament,
I am half Italian. I have Italian passport. My grandparents from Italy. But if I was going to support a team, I should support Finland. I see Finland putting more effort into futsal than Italy.
Yeah, I mean, the energy's out there. Italy just had their election. I think last year it was 2021. They had the presidency for the futsal, portfolio. So we're going to have to see what they do, because Italy's marketing at the past World Cups was only matched by Japan. They had these customized designs with their futsal teams, and it was brilliantly done. I mean, I have some copies. I should send you some images. It was phenomenal stuff. So Italy needs to be on a resurgence. They got a fantastic first division league. Personally, I mean, I would be remiss if I did not take Kazakhstan first and Italy second to move on from Group B. So, Group C moving forward, check this out. Russia, Poland, Slovakia, Croatia. What do you like here?
Russia, Poland,
Slovakia, and Croatia.
That's very interesting.
That's a fun group, eh?
Yeah, it's all the countries from the east side there. That's gonna be tough. There's gonna be some rough games there. It's lots of fighting. And Russia, I see Russia being a very strong nation. Russia could have won the World Cup, so they have the foundation of being a strong team, plus having good local players, having a few Brazilians. So they should go far in the competition as they usually go. But that's a very interesting group.
Yeah, I mean, for me, to be honest, I think Russia were a juggernaut. Had Russia gotten past Argentina, I think they were going to make the run all the way to the final. And who knows what would have happened with the Russia-Portugal final. Would have been phenomenal. And to be honest, I see them topping this group, not necessarily with relative ease, but I think this is going to be where they really sharpen their blades on a run to the final. I mean, the last time Russia won was 1999. and they finished runner-up, I think, 5 times. So this is a
That's true.
team is just one of the nastiest in the world. And I mean, for me, I'll be honest, they were my favorite to win this tournament this time around.
Yeah, together with Portugal, I think with George Bras, I wouldn't give credit to Portugal. Usually, if you just watch them in the group stage, like in the World Cup, I watch them in the group stage. I wouldn't think that they would finish as a champion. But with George Bras now, I'll have to put Portugal together with Russia.
I have Portugal, Russia in the final as well out there. I mean, you have the great tactician in George, plus these great talent. And the one thing about George, I talk to him all the time about this whenever I see him at a tournament. He's, what's your biggest asset all the time? And he's like, we have just such a constant factory of young kids coming up, and we're always infusing them with these veterans. And these guys are working together like a machine moving forward. And we saw that at the World Cup. We saw that in 2018 at the last Euro. A Portugal-Russia final would be absolutely dreamville for me. So, you know what? I like that.
But my heart is on Spain. My heart, I want Spain to win these Euros. Just, I feel for them. I feel that they have so much knowledge about futsal, and they deserve it to be, at least respect a little bit more, And recently, everyone's saying that they're not playing a good game. And I think it's just luck. They could have easily beat Portugal in the World Cup as well.
They hit the post in the last second of the second half. I was at that game. My heart jumped out of my throat. I was very
It's
happy
those
about
details
that.
we talk about.
Yeah, and Spain can win this. I mean, they've won this tournament 7 times. 7 times, more than anybody. Even if a team wins for the next 3 tournaments, 4 tournaments, Spain's still going to be top of that table. Their influence around the world is second to none. And if Spain wins, no one's going to be surprised. But that leads us, obviously, to Group D, where they're at. So who do you see with them advancing out of this group? We have Georgia, who very nice big surprise in qualifying. Azerbaijan, a lot of great talent out there. And Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Look, the thing is about Georgia and Azerbaijan. Georgia have 6 Brazilians in the squad. Azerbaijan have 6 Brazilians. And they're not just any Brazilians. Georgia have some... Let me just bring up the names here for Georgia, for example. Roninho, amazing player. Thales, Fumaça. Elisandro. Elisandro was the pivot for Inter Movistar. So, and Corinthians. Then they have Bruno, Chaguinha. And then Azerbaijan have Finel, an amazing player. And also Vassoura, 2 amazing players. And plus the other players. So it's become a very interesting thing that these countries in the past, you just say that they wouldn't go far, but now they can make finals. I would still I would say that Georgia will get through. Georgia together with Spain. Georgia is a little bit stronger than Azerbaijan and stronger than Bosnia as well.
Well, I like it. So we got the favorites. Now, here's what I want to hear. Star players. Who should we look out for at this tournament and why?
There is so many. There are so many. There's so many amazing players playing. It's just too hard. I think Pany will have an amazing tournament as usual. The Portuguese players, Pany, Eric. You have the young player as well. What's his name from? Ziki, but what's the other Portuguese name as well? The young one.
Did you say Ziki?
Adolfo, young one from Benfica. Do you recall his name?
It's not Adolfo, no?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. But anyway, no. And then you have the Brazilians playing. In the Spanish national team, you have some guns as well. It's, very, very interesting.
Well, I'm interested to see what Lozano's going to bring to the table out here. I mean, after his injury out there, people are
ready. He has been amazing. Since he got back, he's been playing outstanding.
It's been nuts to see what he's doing. This kid is on fire. If Spain's going to win, he's going to be the biggest component of this side. No question about it.
So see, Lozano is a player that you look at him and you think that he should have won at least once the best player in the world.
You would figure, but he's still so young.
Yeah, Lozano, he's just unlucky that there is some superstars like Ricardinho, Falcao, and Ferrão.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many guys who have had injuries or guys who have had COVID. I mean, we saw what happened with Portugal. I mean, Bebe had to, get the call up now for the national team again. I can't believe it out there. If you want someone who's going to replace,
Poor Edu, second, he missed 2 big tournaments.
All because of COVID. This is absolutely nuts, and he's one of the best goalkeepers out there.
He is.
And it's really sad. But I mean, if you want someone who's going to come in to, kind of, be that anchor out there, your World Cup winning goalie in Bebe, not a bad guy to come in and do that job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what about Douglas Jr. to be exact out there?
Then you have the Brazilians from Kazakhstan. Douglas Jr., Igita could be the best player. Tainan, now this new player, Edson, have you seen him before?
No. Has he come over from Brazil recent, or he's
from
been
Corinthians?
For a while now?
So he was signed
He's a
from
Corinthians
Corinthians. Yeah. He's a freak 1-against-1. So he 1-against-1, he's another amazing player. And then you have Alex Merlin, you have so many players, playing in the tournament. Yeah, but Douglas Jr., he's amazing, and he's so humble. I would love to see him as MVP of the tournament.
It would be interesting. I mean, what is he now? Is he 37, 38 years old? He's got to be up there now.
Talking to Luizinho, I think he's in his mid-30s. Yeah, him and Higuita, they in his 36-year-olds.
Yeah, did anybody have more minutes than him at the 2021 World Cup? It seemed like the guy never was substituted once.
The funny thing was, if I'm not mistaken, Douglas was the first one, and second was Ricardinho. Can you believe that Ricardinho was one of the most played players in the World Cup?
He really? I mean, he was coming off the most devastating injury.
The World Cup. Yeah, so I can't remember exactly, but I think it was Douglas Jr., Rodrigo from Brazil, and Ricardinho, the 3 players with the most minutes in the World Cup.
What makes Ricardinho's minutes? I mean, I didn't even know that out there, and I'm sitting there going, "This guy came off one of the most devastating
I noticed
injuries."
He played a fair bit.
Well, I mean, he was super influential. He wasn't he didn't have that explosive first step that we've all seen, but his influence was beyond reproach. It was
talking
incredible.
to Luizinho on the podcast. That's exactly what he said. They played Douglas Jr. so much, and in the 3rd against 4th playoffs against Brazil, Douglas couldn't even walk. He didn't even have legs to walk. So if they had made the grand final, it would have been really hard for Douglas.
Yeah, Kazakhstan, imagine being penalties away from the final and going up against Argentina. I mean, the Kazakh fans traveled. I mean, they were super friendly, super awesome guys. I was over the moon out there. And
now they have Leo Jaraguá as well, another good player for Kazakhstan. That he didn't play in the World Cup. I think had COVID in the World Cup, was injured. He's gonna be now together with this Edson, Tainan, Douglas Jr. It's a Brazilian national team that they have there.
Yeah. Oh, and you're talking about the defender. Sorry, I can't. Every time you say, I keep hearing Alfonso. Is Alfonso? No.
Yes.
He's like 20.
Yeah, he's like Portuguese player.
He's like 25 or 26, something like that. Maybe even younger, actually.
Yeah, I think he's pretty young. He's another good player for the Portuguese national team.
Yeah, you're the stat man. That's it. So, is there anybody else we should be looking at from this tournament? Maybe Abramov from Russia or anybody else in particular?
There is always some good players. There is the pivot for Serbia. When we're talking about Serbia, he plays for Halegojka. I can't remember his name. There is just every team has at least a few good players to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I can't wait. Well, I guess moving forward on it, I mean, we've looked at some of the players. Why don't we get some predictions? Group A, I want to hear it. You got Portugal and Serbia as your favorite?
Let me just bring Group A here so I see. Yeah, Portugal and Serbia going through. However, I could put my chips on Netherlands there against Serbia. That game could be an interesting one.
I'm going to be very interested to see a lot of the young players that the Ukraine have called up. That's a team I'm not going to sleep on. There's a couple of Ukrainians that are in Amsterdam that I'm going to be looking to bring onto the show to talk, because I think they've been one of those sleeper teams that people forgot about. So I'm interested to see what the Ukrainians bring, but my heart and my wallet have to go to Portugal and Serbia. Group B, Kazakhstan, Italy, Slovenia, Finland. We're going with Kazakhstan, Italy, or do you have a surprise in that?
Look, I'm not sure about this Italian team. I think I'm not sure if they're ready. I always still go with Kazakhstan and Italy, but I hope they prove me wrong. I hope Finland, tries to beat against Italy.
All right, and then now, I think it's safe to say you want Russia as your pick for Group C, but who do you have for second place? Poland, Slovakia, or Croatia?
That's interesting one because there are three teams that I haven't seen in a while. I haven't. They didn't make the World Cup. Um, Between the three, there Croatia has a strong league and they have strong players. I'll go with Croatia. What about you?
You know what? I'm going to have to lean with Croatia. I did see a little bit. Poland played Brazil in a warm-up game, or two in Poland
That's true.
because they were next door to Lithuania, and they've slowly built up. There's an interest growing in Poland in futsal. The quality's still not high at the top domestic
No,
league level.
no, Brazil was didn't have the amazing games and still got some good results there.
No, for sure. And so, I mean, honestly, I'm going to tip my hat. Russia with Croatia finishing in a very close second, but they could finish top of that group. But I think Russia just they have an axe to grind after their elimination from 2021.
Yeah.
That's it. And then finally, we talked Spain, Azerbaijan, Bosnia, or Georgia. Ooh, this is tough.
Who are you gonna go with?
I'm going with Spain and Azerbaijan on this one.
I'll go with Georgia and Spain. I think
Not a bad pick.
Yeah, I think Georgia will have just a little bit better than Azerbaijan. They just have way too many Brazilians now, and with Elisandro as their pivot, Elisandro is one of the best pivots in the world. I think he'll be a game changer for Georgia.
Do you know how long ago he got a citizenship in Georgia?
He got no longer. I think he got last year or this year. Yeah.
It's amazing what governments can do when tournaments come up, eh? I love it.
I wish Australia had done the same for me a few years ago.
That's it. I don't know. You said you might have come to Canada a couple of years ago out there, and we could use all the talent too out here, brother. But
Australia made me work for 10 years before I got my citizenship. So now I finally have the chance to be able to play for the national team.
yeah, with all the taxes you paid, you probably get your own facility at that time, no?
Probably.
Well, that's perfect. Well, listen, that's our recap today, the Futsal Awards and the Euro 2022 preview. We're going to be doing a show every day for about maybe 25 to 30 minutes max. But today with the Futsal Awards, we wanted to give everybody that big squeeze of that juice. And there was a lot of juice today in futsal, and that's what it's all about. It's the best sport in the world. And one of the things that I like to do every day, I'm going to be promoting someone in the futsal community that is promoting the game and trying to build it out. And there's a couple of great little books. The first of which, if you want to learn Spanish like I need to, having the last name Fernandes and I can't speak Portuguese or Spanish, this is a crime. So out there is a wonderful book from Antonio Pulido Casas, and it's not even too much available. I want you to check
Let's move
this
back
out.
a little bit.
You got it?
There you go.
Boom.
Yeah.
Sueños de
Sueños de
Fútbol
Fútbol
Sala.
Sala.
Pick it up. There's a new book that they're coming out with, or that's already been released. And the second is from our man who works at The Guardian as an editor, and it's in English, Futsal, the story of an indoor football revolution. Jamie has gone around the world interviewing everybody from the US to Brazil to Europe to everywhere imaginable. And the man's writing is excellent. I could only aspire to write like this guy. So pick up those two books out there. Great guys, great contributors to futsal. But you know who's also a great contributor to futsal? This man, my guest today, Andre Caro. Will you be back joining us sometime during the tournament? I know you're a busy guy, but you're just the doctor for a reason. You're the doctor. No, prescribe it.
For sure. I always find time for more futsal, so I'll be in for sure.
Well, listen, and people want to hear about your expertise. Where do they find you?
I'm everywhere. So if you are on the internet, you're going to find me. Just whichever platform you are at, just look it up, Andre Caro Futsal. I'm going to be on that platform.
I love it. And his content is absolutely fantastic. Whether you're learning skills, seeing some of the best interviews in the world, or having insight and analysis, there's rarely a man out there at the level of Andre Caro. Make sure you check out all the social media stuff out there. It is superb. And he'll be joining us back here because he's one of the best guests in the world. So, Andre, thank you so much for joining us, sharing your insight on the Futsal Awards and Euro 2022. I can't wait to watch in a couple hours, my friend.
No, my pleasure, Kris. Congratulations on your work. I'm so honored to be your first guest, and I look forward to watching you and seeing what's come for you.
Well, it's a work in progress. We get the editing process out, but for now, I think we're going to keep it simple, let people enjoy it. But one thing is for sure, if people listening to this have got to the end of the show, there is going to be a very, very, very special prize sometime at this tournament we're going to give away that's just going to knock people's socks off. So stay tuned for that. Social media, Inside Soccer Mag on Twitter, Inside Futsal everywhere else. I'm probably going to have to change the Inside Soccer Mag eventually.
I think so too.
I think it's going to happen. And then so Facebook, as well as Instagram, Inside Futsal, will continue all time long. But for now, check out Caro Futsal and enjoy the Euro 2022. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.